Okay, we're going over problems that involve quadratics. Okay, the very first question says the product of two consecutive even numbers is 5,624. What are the numbers? Even though this is a very short word problem, it's always in your best interest to read them twice, and then the second time around, highlight any important information. So the product, what do they mean by product? Multiplication, right? That means we got to multiply. There we go. Of two consecutive, what does consecutive mean? One after the other. Okay? But it says two consecutive even numbers. So they won't be exactly one after the other, right? Because consecutive numbers would be like 1 and 2, but one of those is odd, and the other is even. So, if you guys notice, when we're counting consecutive numbers, we go odd, even. What would the next one be? Odd. Very good. And then? Good. So, consecutive even numbers, do they come exactly after one after another? No. So if we have one of the numbers, the next number will be how many past that? Not one. Consider one like adding one. So going from 2 to 3 would be 1. Going from 2 to 4 would be adding how much? 2. So if we call 2 our x, then 4 would be x plus 2. Okay? That would be consecutive even numbers. And we says their product is equal to 5,624. What are the numbers? So we know that we multiply these two numbers. One of the numbers we're going to call x. The next consecutive even number is known as x plus 2. Is equal to 5,624. Okay? Now what we need to do is we need to get this into a question where we can solve x. So we're going to use distributive property. We multiply the x through, we're left with x squared plus 2x is equal to 5,624. But in order to solve for x, what do we need the equation to equal? 0. So how do I make this equal to 0? What do I do? We bring 5,624 to the other side. So now we're left with x squared plus 2x minus 5,624 is equal to 0. So this is what form of a quadratic? Good, it's a standard form. So in standard form, if we want to solve for x, what are our processes? What can we do? What formula? Yeah, we could try to factor, and actually there are going to be factors to this, but either way, whether we factor or use quadratic formula, we'll solve it. There are probably many factors to this number, which means factoring will probably end up taking us a very long time. It may be much quicker for us to actually use the quadratic formula, even though we can evenly factor this. Okay? So we're actually going to use the quadratic formula for this. I'm going to get you guys at the same time to say it to me. Ready? So x is equal to what? So x equals negative b
square root.
Slow down, slow down, slow down.
Plus minus 4ac.
Good, good. Good. You got it. So, now we just got to figure out what our values are. Our a value is what? 1. Good, I just said that. So our a is going to be 1. Our b value is positive 2, so those will be our b's, and our c value is
Negative 5,000.
good, and that'll be our c. So let's plug these in. X is equal to, when we put positive b in, we'll get negative 2 plus or minus the square root of what is going to be 2 squared?
4.
Good. All right. 4, and we're going to figure out if we're going to add or subtract. 4 times 1 is 4, and then times negative 5,024 times 4 is going to give us negative 22,496. So, say that again. I completely lost that number. Now, the reason it's a plus because we should have been multiplying by negative 4. So, I'll show you one more time. 4 times 1, sorry, it's negative 4 times 1 gives us negative 4. So negative 4 times negative 5,624 equals positive 22496. 22496. Perfect. all divided by 2 times 1. 2. This becomes -2 plus or minus the root of 22,400. Oh no, 22,500. 22,500. Looking for the root of 22,500 divided by 2. Okay. We're going to find that root. 22,500 rooted 150. So we now get -2 plus or minus 150 divided by 2. What is my next step? Yes. Why do we split it? That's right. Because we're going to get 2 answers from the root of 22500. Technically, there is positive 150 and negative 150. Okay. So what we're going to end up with is x is equal to -2 plus 150 divided by 2, and x is equal to -2 minus 150 divided by 2. So here we go for our answers. -2 plus 150 is 148. Divided by 2 is 78? 74. Great. X equals 74. And then -2 minus 150 is -152, which is -76. There we go. So our 2 answers are 74 or -76. Well, let's check to make sure that makes sense. They said there had to be 2 consecutive even numbers, right? So if x is 74, what is our next consecutive even number? 76. So let's multiply these 2 and see what we get. Right? We just go up 2 to be the next even number. 74 times 76, 5624, that's right. And if x is -76, what's the next consecutive even number?
Positive, -78, -74.
That's right. -74, we go up 2. Okay? So those values, think about it. The actual amount is going to be the exact same, 5,624. And because we're multiplying a negative by a negative, we're still going to get positive 5,224. Both of those are acceptable answers. Both of them work. Okay? So in this case, you'd have to show that there are 2 possible answers to this question.